What if I told you the giant fire lighting your sky every morning is powerful enough to destroy everything on Earth in seconds? Every single morning, humans wake up under the light of something so powerful, so enormous, and so essential to existence that without it, life on Earth would disappear almost instantly. Yet most people rarely stop to think about it deeply. The sun feels ordinary because it has always been there. It rises, it sets, it lights the sky every day so consistently that humanity forgets how extraordinary it truly is. But the sun is not just a bright object in the sky. It is the center of our entire solar system, the force holding planets, energy, gravity, and life itself together. Everything in our cosmic neighborhood revolves around it. The Earth is not floating randomly through space. It is locked in orbit around the sun by gravity, moving through the darkness of space at incredible speed while remaining perfectly balanced within a system controlled by this single massive star. JUFRAC MM1M2, or 2. This gravitational relationship keeps planets moving in stable paths instead of drifting endlessly into the void. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, every planet is connected to the sun through its immense gravitational pull. Without that force, the solar system itself would collapse into chaos. And what makes this even more astonishing is the sheer scale of the sun. The sun contains more than 99% of all the mass in the solar system. That means almost everything. Every planet, moon, asteroid, and comet combined is tiny compared to the sun itself. Earth, despite feeling enormous to humans, is almost insignificant beside it. More than 1 million Earths could fit inside the sun. Just imagine that, for a moment, everything humans have ever built. Every city, every ocean, every mountain, every civilization in history. All of it exists on a planet that is microscopic compared to the star keeping it alive. And yet, despite being nearly 150 million kilometers away, the sun reaches Earth every second through energy and light. Its warmth drives weather systems, ocean currents, seasons, plant growth, and the entire cycle of life itself. Every breath humans take is connected to energy that ultimately came from the sun. Plants absorb sunlight and transform it into energy through photosynthesis. CO2 plus 6H2O plus, light or right arrow C6H12O6 plus 6022. That process supports food chains across the planet. Without sunlight, ecosystems collapse, temperatures fall, oceans freeze. Life disappears into darkness. Human civilization itself exists because the sun continues burning, and yet from Earth the sun can feel strangely calm, a glowing circle crossing the sky peacefully every day. But that calm appearance hides unimaginable power. Deep within the sun, enormous forces are constantly at work, producing the energy that reaches our world. The sun is not passive. It is active, dynamic, and powerful beyond human comprehension. Even time itself on Earth depends on the sun. Days, seasons, years. Human understanding of time has always been shaped by the movement of Earth around this star. Ancient civilizations worshipped it. Farmers depended on it. Explorers navigated by it. Entire cultures built their understanding of existence around its light, because instinctively, humanity always understood one thing: without the sun, there is no life. And perhaps that realization changes the way humans see the sky itself, because the sun is not just part of the universe humans observe. It is the reason humans are alive to observe anything at all. A distant cosmic fire, holding an entire solar system together through gravity, energy, and light. Quietly reminding humanity that life itself exists because a star continues burning in the darkness of space. From Earth, the sun appears peaceful, a glowing light in the sky that rises every morning with calm consistency. Humans watch sunsets, feel warmth on their skin, and often think of the sun as stable and gentle. But that appearance is one of the greatest illusions in the universe. Because beneath that calm glow exists something unimaginably violent, a gigantic sphere of nuclear energy exploding continuously every single second. The sun is not quietly burning like fire on Earth. It is a colossal nuclear engine operating on a scale the human mind struggles to comprehend. Deep inside the core of the sun, temperatures rise to nearly 15 million degrees Celsius. Pressure becomes so intense that atoms themselves are forced together. Hydrogen nuclei collide with such force that they fuse into helium, releasing enormous amounts of energy in the process. This process is called nuclear fusion. 1H, right arrow. 4, heat plus, energy. And this single reaction is what powers the entire solar system. Every second, the sun converts millions of tons of matter into pure energy. That energy travels outward through space as heat, light, and radiation, eventually reaching Earth after crossing nearly 150 million kilometers of darkness. The sunlight humans casually experience every day began as violent fusion deep inside the core of a star, and the scale of this power is almost impossible to imagine. The amount of energy released by the sun every second is greater than billions of nuclear bombs exploding simultaneously. Yet because of the enormous distance between Earth and the sun, humans experience only a tiny fraction of that energy, just enough to sustain life instead of destroying it. That perfect balance is extraordinary. If Earth were significantly closer to the sun, temperatures would become unbearable. Oceans could evaporate, life would collapse. If Earth were farther away, the planet could freeze into darkness. Humanity exists within a narrow region where solar energy allows life to survive, and even then, the sun remains incredibly dangerous. Solar flares and massive eruptions occasionally burst from its surface, releasing streams of charged particles into space at astonishing speeds. These eruptions can affect satellites, communication systems, electricity grids, and even the Earth's magnetic field. The sun is alive with constant activity. Its surface boils with violent motion. Giant storms larger than Earth form and disappear. Magnetic fields twist and break apart unpredictably. Enormous explosions launch energy across millions of kilometers. Yet from Earth, humans see only light. That contrast is what makes the sun so fascinating. Something so violent appears so calm from a distance. A cosmic force capable of unimaginable destruction also becomes the source of life, warmth, and beauty for an entire planet. And perhaps that reveals something deeper about the universe itself. Power does not always appear frightening from far away. Sometimes the most dangerous things look peaceful because humans are too distant to witness their true nature directly. Even time inside the sun operates differently than people imagine. The energy created in the core does not instantly escape into space. In fact, it can take thousands or even millions of years for energy produced deep within the sun to finally reach its surface before traveling toward Earth as sunlight. That means some of the sunlight touching Earth today may have begun its journey before human civilization even existed. Think about that. Ancient energy crossing space, eventually reaching a tiny planet where humans live short lives beneath a star they barely understand. And despite all modern science, the sun still contains mysteries. Scientists continue studying its magnetic cycles, eruptions, and internal structure because many questions remain unanswered. Humanity depends completely on this star. Yet even now, humans are still learning how it truly works. Because the sun is not just a bright object in the sky. It is an ongoing cosmic explosion, powerful enough to sustain life, dangerous enough to destroy worlds, and massive enough to remind humanity how small existence truly is beneath the fire of a star. Human beings often live their daily lives without realizing how completely dependent they are on the sun. People wake up, work, eat, travel, build cities, and move through life as though the world around them is permanent and self-sustaining. But the truth is far more fragile than most humans realize. Because every breath, every source of food, every drop of warmth, and nearly every form of life on Earth exists because of one distant star continuing to shine in space. Without the sun, life on Earth would disappear, and not slowly over millions of years. The collapse would begin almost immediately. The moment sunlight vanished, the planet would start falling into darkness, unlike anything humanity has ever experienced. Day would disappear permanently. Temperatures across Earth would begin dropping rapidly. Within days, the surface would grow dangerously cold. Within weeks, much of the planet would freeze. Because the sun is not only providing light, it is providing energy to the entire system of life. Plants depend directly on sunlight through photosynthesis, converting solar energy into food and oxygen. CO2 plus 6H2O plus light right arrow C6H12O6 plus 6O. Without sunlight, this process stops almost immediately. Plants begin dying, oxygen production decreases, food chains collapse because animals that depend on plants lose their source of survival. Predators eventually lose prey. Ecosystems fail one after another. Life begins unraveling from the bottom upward, and humans are not separate from this system. Every meal people eat ultimately traces back to solar energy. Crops grow because of sunlight. Animals survive because plants exist. Even fossil fuels used by civilization originated from ancient life forms powered by sunlight millions of years ago. Human civilization itself is built upon stored solar energy. Without the sun, Earth also loses its heat balance. Oceans begin freezing from the surface downward. Winds and weather systems disappear because atmospheric movement depends on solar heating. Rain cycles stop, seasons vanish. The living planet humans know becomes silent and frozen. And perhaps, the most terrifying part is how quickly humanity would realize its helplessness. Technology could not replace the sun on a planetary scale. No machine, no power grid, no artificial system could reproduce the energy Earth receives naturally every second from this single star. Humanity, despite all its intelligence and advancement, remains completely dependent on forces far beyond human control. That realization changes perspective, because humans often feel powerful. Civilizations rise, skyscrapers fill cities, technology expands across the globe, but all of it exists beneath a star that quietly makes life possible every single moment. Without its energy, human existence becomes impossible. Even human biology depends on the sun. The body uses sunlight to produce vitamin D. Sleep cycles are influenced by daylight. Mental health changes with exposure to light. Human evolution itself developed beneath the rhythms of sunrise and sunset. The sun shapes life physically, emotionally, and environmentally, and yet most people rarely think about it deeply because its presence feels permanent. Humans assume the sun will always rise tomorrow, but in cosmic terms, stars are not eternal. The sun itself is living through a lifespan measured across billions of years. One day, far in the future, it will change dramatically as it ages. Even stars eventually die, and that reality reminds humanity of something profound. Life on Earth is not independent. It exists within a delicate cosmic balance created by forces far greater than human civilization. A balance where one distant star controls warmth, energy, gravity, climate, ecosystems, and the possibility of life itself. The sun is not simply part of the sky. It is the invisible foundation beneath every living thing humans have ever known, a distant fire in space, silently sustaining an entire world every second, reminding humanity that life itself survives only because a star continues to burn against the darkness of the universe. Most humans think of the sun as something distant, a bright object far away in space that simply gives light and warmth to Earth. But the truth is far more complex and far more powerful than most people realize, because the sun does not only shine on Earth, it actively influences the planet every second through gravity, heat, radiation, and invisible magnetic forces powerful enough to affect oceans, weather systems, technology, and even space itself. The Earth is constantly connected to the sun in ways humans cannot directly see. Its gravity alone controls the entire structure of the solar system. Without the sun's immense gravitational pull, Earth would drift endlessly through cold, empty space. Jafrakmalamitu, Yatu. This invisible force keeps planets moving in stable orbits year after year, creating the conditions necessary for life. Earth's movement around the sun shapes seasons, climate cycles, and the flow of time humans experience every day. But gravity is only the beginning. The sun also drives Earth's weather and oceans through heat energy. Sunlight warms different parts of the planet unevenly, creating winds, storms, ocean currents, and atmospheric movement. The air humans breathe, the rain that falls, the changing seasons, even the movement of hurricanes and climate systems, all are influenced by solar energy. The entire environment of Earth responds to the sun continuously, and then there are the sun's magnetic storms. Most people never think about them because they are invisible from daily life. But the sun is constantly releasing streams of charged particles into space. Sometimes massive eruptions called solar flares and coronal mass ejections burst outward with enormous force. These eruptions travel across space at incredible speeds. When they reach Earth, they interact with the planet's magnetic field, creating phenomena such as auroras, the glowing lights seen near polar regions. But these same solar storms can also become dangerous for modern civilization, because humanity has built a technological world deeply vulnerable to solar activity. Satellites, GPS systems, internet infrastructure, radio communication, aircraft, navigation, and electricity grids can all be affected by powerful solar storms. A strong enough eruption from the sun could disrupt communication systems across the planet and damage technology humans depend on daily. And perhaps that is what makes this realization so unsettling. Human civilization appears advanced and powerful, yet it remains vulnerable to activity happening on the surface of a star nearly 150 million kilometers away. The sun influences Earth even across unimaginable distance. Astronauts in space must also deal with solar radiation directly. Outside Earth's protective magnetic field, exposure to solar particles becomes much more dangerous. Space missions are carefully monitored because intense solar activity can threaten both equipment and human life beyond Earth. The deeper science studies the sun, the clearer one truth becomes. Earth is not isolated from the universe. The planet exists inside a constantly active cosmic environment shaped by forces much larger than humanity itself. Even climate patterns across long periods are linked partly to solar cycles. Changes in solar activity can influence temperatures and atmospheric conditions in ways scientists continue studying today. The sun is not static. It changes over time, following cycles of magnetic activity that affect the entire solar system. And despite centuries of observation, humans still do not fully understand all of its behavior, because the sun is not just a giant light in space. It is a living cosmic engine interacting continuously with Earth through gravity, energy, radiation, and magnetic power. Every sunrise humans witness is connected to forces moving across millions of kilometers of space. Every season, every storm, every ocean current, every signal traveling through satellites exists within a system shaped partly by the activity of this star. And maybe that is what makes the sun feel so extraordinary, not only because it gives life, but because it quietly controls so much of reality on Earth while remaining unimaginably distant at the same time. A cosmic force burning across space, influencing oceans, skies, technology, and life itself, reminding humanity that even on Earth, we are still living under the power of a star. For thousands of years, humans have looked at the sun with a mixture of dependence, fear, curiosity, and wonder. Ancient civilizations worshipped it as a god. Early astronomers studied its movement to understand time and seasons. And today, even with modern science and advanced technology, the sun still remains filled with mysteries humanity has not fully solved. That alone says something extraordinary, because the sun is the closest star to Earth, and yet humans still do not completely understand how it works. Scientists continue studying the sun every day because it is far more complicated than a simple glowing sphere in the sky. Beneath its surface exist violent magnetic fields, unpredictable eruptions, and cycles of activity that affect the entire solar system in ways researchers are still trying to predict accurately. One of the biggest mysteries involves solar flares and coronal mass ejections, massive eruptions of energy and charged particles released from the sun's surface. These explosions can release energy equivalent to billions of nuclear bombs in a very short time, and yet scientists still cannot perfectly predict when the largest solar storms will occur. The sun's magnetic field behaves in strange and complex ways. It twists, shifts, strengthens, and suddenly releases enormous energy without warning. These magnetic disruptions create sunspots, darker regions on the sun's surface associated with intense magnetic activity. Scientists track these sunspots carefully because they often signal increased solar activity. And what makes this even more fascinating is that the sun follows cycles. Approximately every 11 years, solar activity rises and falls in a repeating pattern known as the solar cycle. During peak activity, more sunspots, solar flares, and magnetic storms appear. During quieter phases, the sun becomes more stable. Solar cycle approx 11 daring years, but even though scientists understand these cycles generally, many details remain uncertain. Some solar cycles are stronger than expected. Others behave unpredictably. The deeper humans study the sun, the more they realize how much complexity still remains hidden within it. And perhaps the most important question of all concerns the future of the sun itself. Because stars are not eternal. The sun may appear permanent to human civilization, but in cosmic terms it is living through a lifespan. Right now, it is in a stable phase called the main sequence, where nuclear fusion continues converting hydrogen into helium. But one day, billions of years in the future, the sun will begin changing dramatically as its fuel slowly runs out. Scientists believe it will eventually expand into a red giant growing so enormous that it could consume nearby planets, possibly including Earth itself. H. The right arrow. 4. He plus energy. The same star that gives life today will one day transform into something far more destructive. And that realization changes perspective completely, because it reminds humanity that even stars, the most powerful objects humans see daily, are temporary parts of a constantly evolving universe. The sun has existed for billions of years before humans appeared. It will continue existing long after modern civilization disappears. Human history itself is only a brief moment beneath the life of this star. Yet despite all scientific advancement, the sun still surprises researchers. Spacecraft continue observing it closely. Satellites monitor solar activity continuously. Scientists study its internal vibrations, magnetic structures, and eruptions, trying to better understand how stars behave. Because understanding the sun is not just about astronomy. It is about understanding the force that makes life on Earth possible. And perhaps that is what makes the sun so fascinating. The closer humanity looks at it, the more mystery appears. A star humans see every single day still contains unanswered questions hidden beneath its burning surface. A cosmic fire millions of kilometers away, still holding secrets humanity has not fully unlocked, reminding the world that even the closest star in the sky remains partly unknown. When humans look at the sun, they often see something familiar. A daily part of life. A bright light crossing the sky every morning and disappearing every evening. But the moment people truly understand what the sun actually is, something changes inside them. Because the sun is not just a light in the sky, it is a gigantic star, one among billions scattered across an incomprehensibly vast universe. And suddenly, humanity begins to feel very small. The sun itself is already almost impossible for the human mind to fully comprehend. More than 1 million Earths could fit inside it. It controls the entire solar system through gravity and energy. It burns with unimaginable power every second. Yet in the scale of the universe, the sun is not considered extraordinary at all. There are stars far larger, hotter, brighter, and more violent than the sun existing across distant galaxies. Some stars are so massive they could swallow the sun completely. Others explode with energies beyond anything humans can imagine. And that realization changes perspective completely. Because if the sun, something already so enormous and powerful, is only one ordinary star among billions, then the universe itself becomes almost beyond comprehension. The distances alone are overwhelming. Light from the sun takes about 8 minutes to reach Earth. Distance, speed on times. Time, but light from other stars can take years, centuries, or even millions of years to reach humanity. Some stars humans see in the night sky may already be gone, their light only now arriving across space. That means humans are looking into the past every time they observe the universe. And somewhere within that endless cosmic darkness, the sun continues burning quietly, a single star sustaining life on one small planet orbiting around it. That thought is both humbling and powerful, because human civilization often feels important from Earth's perspective. People focus on status, conflict, money, success, and daily struggles as though they are the center of existence. But the universe reveals something different. Beneath the scale of stars, galaxies, and cosmic time, humanity becomes incredibly small, and yet somehow still meaningful. Because despite this immense scale, humans possess awareness. Tiny creatures living on a small planet beneath one ordinary star develop the ability to observe the universe itself. Humanity studies stars, measures distances across space, and asks questions about existence. The universe became conscious enough to observe itself through the human mind. And perhaps that is what makes the sun feel so important emotionally as well as scientifically. It is not only a star, it is humanity's connection to the larger universe. Every sunrise is evidence that humans are living within a cosmic system billions of years old. Every ray of sunlight touching Earth traveled across space from a nuclear star powerful enough to sustain all life on this planet. And still, beyond the sun, there are billions more stars waiting in the darkness. That realization creates both humility and wonder. Because the sun reminds humanity of two truths at the same time. Humans are incredibly small, and yet capable of understanding something unimaginably vast. The sun becomes a symbol of perspective itself, a reminder that life is temporary, the universe is enormous, and human existence exists within a cosmic story far greater than daily worries and limitations. And maybe that is why people feel awe when they look toward the sky. Because somewhere, deep inside, humans recognize that they are standing beneath forces ancient, immense, and beautiful beyond comprehension. A single star burning in the darkness of space, quietly reminding humanity that the universe is far larger, older, and more mysterious than anything the human mind can fully contain. And maybe the most terrifying truth is this: humanity survives every single day beneath a star we still don't fully understand.